loving could be the best thing everyone could ever experience. And building a family with the one you love is a superb dream for almost everyone. It was also the dream of Dan Jones. Since young, he visualized himself being married with the one he loves and builds a family of his own. A family that is blissful and peaceful. But what happens along the process of reaching this dream was tragic, even sending him behind bars. Innocent man sent to jail for rape by his own fiancé. Interesting, right? But before we get into it, please do me a favour by clicking the like and the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you will be notified anytime we release a new video. Going back, this is the story of Dan Jones and how he ended up being sent to jail by his own fiancée, Sarah Jane Parkinson. Like other couples, their story started sweet. Dan comes from a decent family, and the woman he loves the most, Sarah Parkinson, they met 8 years ago. They were so in love with each other that Dan thought he would end up marrying her. Dan and Sarah had plans to buy their dream house while planning their wedding. However, Sarah started acting strange. She started making up stories about how Dan badly treated her. She even went to the police station to file a complaint of domestic violence and rape. Dan's dream house and dream wedding with Sarah was crushed. Dan was convicted and put in jail. But how did they meet? And why did their relationship end up like they are strangers? The two met in 2011 and they were both in their early 20s. Dan was working as an AFP officer and a canine handler when he met and fell in love with the kind, innocent, beautiful and a little laid-back airline employee, Sarah Parkinson. Who would not fall for this well-dressed and very presentable young lady? To Dan, she is perfect. Dan and Sarah's relationship was perfect, but behind her perfection that attracts men is a mystery that can shatter their life into pieces. Because behind those beautiful dresses that she wore was a pathological liar. She started telling and making up stories about her troubled past, which worried Dan and his family. Despite knowing Sarah's history, the Joneses accepted her, and Dan continued planning their wedding. And no matter how many times and how strenuously Dan denied the allegations, Sarah was still able to put him behind bars. Dan's life was turned upside down. He started to live every person's nightmare, to be jailed for the crimes you did not commit. Dan spent 6 years in jail and hundreds of thousands of dollars to be freed. The truth was finally revealed thanks to one good cop who was able to finally unmask Sarah, classifying her as one of the worst. When Sarah changed her career from an airline employee to a clerical list at Gungahlin Police Station, her true colours started to show. She started to weave a web of lies and constantly claiming that she was a victim of violence. She went to work with her visible bruises and told her colleagues that Dan is abusing her. It will always be Dan. Dan, and not her heart condition, caused the bruises due to a series of household accidents and injuries. Her clumsiness became a joke as well. What Dan did not know is the police were already investigating him. After 2 years of silently investigating Dan, Anthony Hill, the chief inspector and Sarah's boss, invited him for a quick chat at the police station. Dan, being suspicious, decided to bring his father, Ian Jones. The outcome seems not favourable to Dan and Ian. The police wanted to put an AVO against Dan due to Sarah's allegations that Dan had been abusing her physically. What is worse was the inspector had 5 witnesses willing to testify against Dan for the crimes that he did not commit. Dan and Ian Jones could not believe what they'd heard. They started asking Sarah about the matter. On the other hand, Sarah defended that his colleagues were just protecting her, to which Dan believed. Sarah assured Ian, her soon-to-be father-in-law as well, that it was a misunderstanding, and Dan, with his love for Sarah, can and will never hurt her. But the situation started to get into Dan's head. Other concerns like infidelity were raised. He was crushed. He was crying. He was angry. He was furious. Who would not? You just bought a place and your fiancé just moved in, and yet you ended up in a situation that would change your life forever. After having and living the life that you once dreamed of, and once everything was going right, is now completely going south in an instant. Sarah and Dan's relationship ended in 2013, and Sarah started to file more complaints at Canberra's Gungahlin Police Station. If all allegations are true, Dan will be facing 32 counts of domestic violence, including rape. In 2014, Dan was arrested and lost everything. He lost his job, career, car, house, and most importantly, his reputation. For Dan, it will cost him 20 years behind bars, and it will cost him hundreds of thousands of dollars to gain back his freedom. The odds were really against the Joneses. Dan, the former AFP officer, was denied bail and was sent to Australia's toughest jail, the Goulburn Supermax. However, what the family did not expect is that a woman is working on their case, but she is no ordinary woman. Sergeant Lisa Alexander worked on Dan's case and was not convinced that he was guilty of domestic violence. The case was handed over to the AFP, and Detective Alexander, after Parkinson raised her claims of harassment to the Jones family. This is where the story gets interesting. For years, Sarah was backed up by the police. All her claims were believed and said to be true. No one sees her as a suspect. Since day one, everyone sees her as a vulnerable victim of domestic violence. Then, here comes a detective seeing her as a suspicious defendant instead of a meek, innocent and vulnerable victim. Sergeant Alexander was so quick at finding the resolution, she now sees a pattern of Sarah's claims: persistent harassment, threats and theft, including Dan's parents, Ian and Michelle, and his brother. She was horrified after finding out that Sarah was nothing but a serial liar. The set of evidence that Detective Alexander gathered was the key to Dan's freedom. Everything that can be used as evidence was recorded, including the timestamp of when they left their houses. This caught Sarah red-handed. All her claims were staged. She made up stories against Dan Jones. The break-in that she claimed as well was also staged. The knife that was used to assault her is her knife. The last act that she had was losing her iPad. Sarah claimed that she lost her iPad and she knew where it was. She reported the incident and informed the police that her iPad was at the Jones residence. This seemed off to Detective Alexander. This led them to check Sarah's car's whereabouts. Thanks to new technology, the GPS saved the Joneses' case. The tracker showed that Sarah drove from her house to the Joneses to plant the iPad in their place. After a couple of months of working on the case, Daniel was freed. He may not get his livelihood, career or house back, but his tarnished reputation will be. And although the judiciary system and the DPP destroyed Dan's family financially, physically and emotionally, their family is still grateful. They may have spent a huge amount of money and caused Michelle and Ian's marriage to fall apart. They, as parents, were able to save their son's life from rotting in jail for a crime that he did not commit. Dan was never found guilty, but proving his innocence cost the Jones family almost $600,000 in cash and everything they owned. They should not have had to spend it in the first place if the judiciary system was fully functional without bias. Dan had been in jail for 6 years, and all he wanted to do is have his parents compensated for everything. Dan is now living away from Canberra to forget this part of his past. Dan Jones is now living in Perth, and remarkably, he's found love again with his new girlfriend. But Dan's story has left them all with a deep and lingering emotional scar caused by one person, Sarah Jane Parkinson. Let this story live and remind the people of different walks of life to carefully choose their partners, for love can be learned and can be unlearned. But the damage that can be done for choosing the wrong person is irreparable. Worst, it may cost your life. Will Dan continue loving his girlfriend without any hesitations after what he's been through with Sarah Parkinson, the woman he thought he would marry? And will the government compensate then for wrongly convicting Dan? What would the government possibly do? And will his parents repair their shattered marriage and family? Tell us what you think in the comments section below. Please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for more videos like this. That's it for today. See you in the next one.